Yo, this is Joel Davis,
And I'm Gracie Davis,
and this is Greater Than Real Estate.
where we go deep to find out who you really are beyond real estate. All right, welcome everyone to this episode of Greater Than Real Estate. Today, our guest, James Deaf Merritt, a real estate agent. He's just going to tell us a little bit about himself and introduce himself, and we're excited to have him on today.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the opportunity to sit down and speak with you guys. My name is James Deaf Merritt. I am originally from Los Angeles, California. Moved to Louisiana. I'm licensed in 2 states. I also have a background in music.
That's awesome.
Happy to be here. Happy to speak with you both.
Yeah, we're super pumped to have you here. Let's kind of break it down a little bit. You grew up in the first LA. Is that the real LA or the
real LA?
The real LA. So you grew up in the real LA. What was that like as a kid, just being in such a beautiful state and just being able to experience that?
I was very sheltered whenever I was a child because my parents, they worked in education for LA Unified School District. So I didn't really experience a lot of the LA that some people see on TV.
Okay.
I experienced a different style of that.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to protect me being in education. They know the streets. They know what LA can really do to you. So my dad was also a preacher, so I'm a preacher's son. So
PK, baby.
You know how those always go.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it living there. The reason why we did leave is because gang violence was a lot serious back then, and our house was involved in a drive-by shooting. So my sister is actually the one that saved my life because I was in the front of the house, and so she went through the whole entire house and came and picked me up and brought me upstairs where my mom was.
That's crazy. Do you know, was there a reason why they targeted your house?
Actually, it was the wrong street. It was the wrong street because we lived in like a suburb, Southern California area, or I would say South Central.
Yeah.
Before it was what it is now. It was the wrong street, but it was the house behind us
That they were going for.
That they were going for.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong time. My dad was at church. Me, my sister, and my mom, we were at home. It was, I think, like on a Wednesday night. And
Jeez.
she was upstairs. My sister was in the kitchen, and I was in the front watching cartoons.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Do you have like a vivid memory of it, or is it kind of blurred now?
Oh no. I remember every single detail. I remember. I was in, because we used to have like this flower-looking couch, back in the 90s.
With plastic over it?
No, we didn't have plastic on it. Next door neighbor had the plastic. But I just remember I was watching TV and then dozing off for a minute, and then my sister coming in and just shaking me and just saying, "Get up and run." She's like, "Just follow me." And I just ran and I followed her, but I could just hear pop, pop, pop and glass just shattering. And so then we met my mother upstairs, and we stayed up there in the master bedroom until my dad came home, until the cops came as well. So I remember every single detail, and then going out the next day and seeing the whole front of a house just riddled with gunshots.
Oh, my gosh.
That's crazy. How soon after did you guys move to Louisiana after that?
I would say that happened around like the summertime, and we were out of there by December.
Wow.
So that put wheels in motion right there.
But my dad was also planning to retire anyway. So it was kind of, one thing after another.
Yeah. So what led to you guys wanting to move to Louisiana? Was that where other family was, or just another opportunity? Why Louisiana?
To be honest with you, I really have no clue.
Yeah.
It's like you ask, like some people ask, like, why Louisiana? But I have family here. My mother has family here. My dad is from Georgia. My mother's from California. And so that's where they met, in California, but we moved to Louisiana. So we actually had decided on moving up to like Monroe, Shreveport area because I have family in like Winfield, Sykes, We have a bunch of land up there.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think it's by the grace of God, because the day that we were getting ready to leave, my mother's cousin's husband, he was a real estate agent. And so he's like, I have this one house that I want to show you. And so we drove maybe 45 minutes to go check it out. And as soon as we're going up the hill, my dad said, that's the one.
Wow.
And that was it.
That's crazy.
So how long did y'all live there?
We still own the house still to this day.
Wow.
So I would say, it's 20 or no, 30 years, man.
Wow.
Yeah, 30
Yeah.
years.
Wow.
I moved here when I was 9. I'm 39. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so your family, are they still there, or did they also move to Texas?
No, well, we still own the house.
Yeah.
My mother, she still lives there. My dad, he passed away a year and a half ago. So we still, there's a lot of sentimental value
Yeah.
to it. And, those are always tough to try and part ways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we still have the house. I want to hold on to it.
Yeah.
My mother wants to leave. But if she wants to leave, then, that's what we got to do. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do want her closer to me.
Yeah. And so we talked about this a little bit before, but you have tons of siblings. So tell
Yeah.
us about your siblings and the family dynamic there.
Oh, dear God. PG. So my oldest brother is Anthony. He is a freak of nature whenever it comes to IT.
Wow.
Actually, I wanted to be like him
Yeah.
because he's just like, he built my first computer. And
Wow.
he did it in less than 45 minutes at the time when I was
Yeah.
a kid. But he has a background in IT, the whole stuff that I just don't know nothing about.
Yeah.
I don't understand ones and zeros. I don't ever want to start trying. But my sisters, we have very different personalities, and to go through each and every single one of them is kind of difficult. But
Yeah.
there's a few that I would say that I always keep I used to keep in contact with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister Tammy, that's the one that saved my life.
Wow.
We had some distance between us at one point, but we came close together right before she passed. And then I have 2 other sisters, Darlene and Forever. We really don't talk right now. It's kind of difficult, but my Darlene's background is, just being honest with you, and she's from the streets.
Yeah.
So she is one of the original founding members of Crip.
Wow.
And I'm not wearing blue for just that. I just noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's one of the original founding members of the Crip organization.
Wow. That is crazy.
How was that stark contrast with your parents when they kind of figured that out? I mean, was it tough, being still in the house and kind of figuring that out?
No, because we have different mothers.
Okay.
And unfortunately, their mother passed a long time ago. But we all have the same father.
Yeah.
And their background compared to mine,
Yeah.
my dad was a zero tolerance person.
Yeah.
He didn't tolerate it in his house, and it wasn't going to go down like that. So if this is what you want to choose to do with your life,
Yeah.
then you can choose to do it outside of my house. So they left at a very early age, which is why I was also so sheltered, because you're not going down that path.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what you're going to do, and this is what I want for the betterment of your life. And so
Wow.
I had a different upbringing. We have a lot of different differences, I would say, still to this day. And, that's family.
Yeah.
But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I'm still going to always have love for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your family, because now you've grown up, you've started your own family. Tell us a little bit about that and how you met your spouse.
Oh, man. So my family is very big. My wife's family is also pretty large size family.
Yeah.
But the way that Vaughn and I met, we actually met, and I love telling this story too, is because, and she's gonna probably listen to this and it's like, oh, here he goes again. Well, I met with someone, a content creator on Instagram. She invited me to just take pictures.
Yeah.
And so I went to go take these pictures with, I think it said Dallas transplant, and I posted that, or no, I posted a picture talking about real estate and
Yeah.
talking about, there's something to do with there's only a few texts that you send out to the woman that's in your life,
Mm.
and good morning, how was your day, and something else, and then I think I ended it saying something like, oh, these are all the texts that go to my mom. And so she commented on it and she said something, and I said, well, I text back or something like that, but she didn't realize she shot her shot at me.
Hey,
And so she shot her shot at me.
there we
Yeah.
go.
And then I slid into the DM.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was around COVID whenever all of this happened. And so ever since then, we've been locked in.
I want to know,
Aw.
when you slid into the DMs, what was the line?
Oh, man, I got to go all the way back. It was something, I think it was something about, so you would text back or
Yeah.
something like that. And we exchanged phone numbers, and then we just started talking, and now we're married.
Rest is history.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
me and Gracie met through a DM slide. So I always ask. She makes fun of my DM slides.
Oh,
so.
man.
But it worked. She's still here.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Social media is the best.
I know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about real estate. So you talked about, I think it was your cousin helped you guys purchase the home in Louisiana.
Mhm.
What got you into real estate? Not a lot of kids grow up wanting to be a real estate agent.
I didn't grow up to want to be a real estate agent. I actually grew up wanting to be a computer scientist or whatever.
Yeah.
Like your brother.
Yeah, because that was my brother.
Yeah.
But over time, then I wanted to be a mortician, because we had a family member that owned a mortuary.
Wow.
So I had, I was around death and life,
Wow.
all of that.
Yeah.
But real estate was always there.
Mm-hmm.
I just never understood that it was always around and how important it was for
Yeah.
me, in my family.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like even during the times where we built churches back home in Louisiana, excuse me, we built churches. We were always doing some type of handiwork.
Yeah.
We were just always involved in the construction process.
Mm.
Or you would always hear, about someone purchasing a house or building a house. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
that was always a background that was there that I never knew.
Yeah.
But I also had a music background. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like, you don't know that the stars are aligning at such an early age. You just know that they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about music, because you said that's something that you're also interested in, something else that you do
Mhm.
for a living. So
So music is, before real estate, before anything else, there's music. And music is always going to be me. DJing is going to be me. Production, management, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's who Deaf is.
Mm-hmm.
Music is something that changed my life. It saved my life. And whenever I was down in Baton Rouge, I became homeless. And I remember I stayed at this Motel 6 off of Segan Lane. I never will forget it. It was room 6. And I remember having all of my clothes in the back of my 2001 red Chevy Silverado. It was just stacked up. And I remember going to class, and then I went to DJ that night. I came back to that room, and I bawled my eyes out. But during that same time, a friend of mine, Fletch, he was like, hey, we're coming up with names, or not names, we're coming up with acronyms for our names. And so what does this mean to you? And nobody knew that this was going on in my life, not even my closest friends or my family. So whenever I say homeless, that was I chose to be homeless rather than to just go home.
Yeah.
And so that's where Don't Ever Accept Failure came up. So Deaf started as a name from a girl that I was dating,
Yeah.
who was actually deaf. And she was a dancer for the LSU Tiger Girls. And so music was more than just like hearing it. It was about feeling it. So I have a lot of respect for that person, because anyone that has a hearing impairment and is able to dance on one of the largest platforms for college, at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a really big, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's huge.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
over time that didn't work out, but the name stuck with me.
Yeah.
And it might have had a little bit of vengeance at the time, but then
Yeah.
over the time the brand changed.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Wow, that's so cool. I didn't know that's where Deaf came from.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your DJing that you do every single night.
So I've been on radio for Max 94.1 in Baton Rouge. It's the #1 hip hop and R&B station for the past 9 years. I'm
Wow.
surrounded by a lot of great DJs, a lot of great people. Myself, cool DJ Super Mike, and then DJ Boosie. Super Mike, he's tied with Fifth. Boosie's tied with Master P. I'm tied with a lot of different individuals,
Yeah.
and also with the Globetrotters. But I've been doing that with real estate for the past 9 years. And if
Wow.
it wasn't for radio,
Yeah.
then I would not have had a good head start with real estate. I
Really?
would say.
Why
Yeah.
why would you say that? Why do you say being able to be on the radio and talking through, the music and everything has gotten you ahead in real estate?
Because I got in trouble because I was promoting James as Deaf, but also like I made a name for myself as a DJ,
Yeah.
and that was solidified. So people knew who I was,
Yeah.
but they didn't understand like this is what James wants to do. They see what Deaf is, but they don't see what James wants to do.
Yeah.
And so while I'm on air, I had just got my real estate license. Actually, it took me 16 times to finally pass the Louisiana Real Estate Commission.
Wow.
Because I was DJing at night, getting home at 4:30 in the morning, and sleep for a couple hours, study throughout the day, and then I'd just run and go take the test and do it all over again. And so it was party, sleep, study, do it all over, and then
Yeah.
take a test and fail. And then I'd do it all over again. But,
Wow.
once I got it, and then I got on radio, nobody wanted to work with you because, you don't really know real estate. So what did I do? I was like, hey, I got this really great guy. Like, he hooked me up with some property. And, if you want his number, call to the station right now. And then the phone started lighting up.
Wow.
And then I would answer the phone, and then they didn't realize that they were talking to the person that I was promoting.
Yeah.
And so I'd give them my phone number,
Yeah.
and then they'd call me again, and
Yeah.
they still didn't realize it. And so at that point, I'm like, I think I'm on to something.
That's
And then I got a
nuts.
phone call saying, you can't do this. This is paid ads. You have to pay for this. But
Yeah.
at that point, it's like, doesn't matter now. I got like 10 people that's ready to go.
Yeah.
So one
No way.
one clip, it changed everything.
That's dope. That's so
That's-
smart though.
I know. Genius.
Yeah. All right. Tell us a little bit about your time at LSU
And
and why LSU is the best college in the United States.
I don't really remember a lot about my LSU days
Yeah.
because I was either, I was partying way
Yeah.
too much. But it's an incredible school. It's incredible people. I chose to go down there just because it was close, and then a lot of people and a lot of friends were there.
Yeah.
So that was one of the main reasons. Now, a lot of the things that happened in between that time,
Yeah.
it took me a long time to try and get through and figure my way,
Yeah.
figure out my way. But
Yeah.
once I figured out that music was the thing, because that's how I got my name built. That's how I built a name on campus, is
Yeah.
that I was a quiet kid. You would see me hanging out with one group of people, and then I'd switch over, and then I'd be hanging out with a different group of people.
Yeah.
And so I just got along with everyone. And so my time was very little studying, a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, but then getting yourself together. And then I, figured out that this is what I want to do as far as with my career.
Yeah.
And so LSU also then gave me a shot to become the very first DJ for LSU athletics. So
Wow.
during all of those times where it was hard to try and break through, I was able to help break down those walls. It was hard for me to break down those walls. So
Yeah.
to see where the school, the programs where they are now today is just,
Yeah.
I sit back and I look at it and I don't care for recognition. I'm not for that. Oh, look, but you didn't do it now because no, it was a lot of people that took to get it to this point. I'm just
Yeah.
glad to be part of that process.
Yeah.
That's dope. Were you there when Les Miles was there?
I was definitely there.
What do you think about Les Miles?
It's a love-hate relationship. But he eats grass, and that's
Hey, he brought you guys a natty.
off a savings team,
Yeah.
as they would say. But it's always love. I mean, we're a rowdy group of people.
Yeah.
Very, very rowdy. Sometimes it could be a little too much, but at the end of the day, we care.
Yeah.
And that's how I always live my life. It's like I always care about the people that are in it, the people that I connect with. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm a giver.
Yeah.
And I always want to, align myself with people that, I can help and that they can help me, because it's a help situation.
For sure.
Yeah. So how long did you do real estate in Louisiana before you moved over to Texas?
Still to this day.
Okay.
I'm still licensed there. I started in 2016
Okay.
out there. Whenever I met a lady that brought me over here, I would say, it was one of those things where I felt like I was at the peak of what I was doing
Mhm.
in Baton Rouge, like as far as with DJing and radio and everything else. And I have a lot of respect for her, because if it was not for her, then I would have never said I'm moving. But
Yeah.
also I wouldn't have never tried to get licensed. So I started that process over again, that brought me over to Texas. And then that time when I took the test, I only took it once.
Wow.
But I was fully prepared.
Yeah.
So I came here in 2017. Shortly thereafter, she had to go up to New York for some work that she was involved in with entertainment, and I stayed here. And it was kind of like, I just got here. I feel like you're leaving me. This whole why me situation, and
Yeah.
now I'm literally going broke. Because I'm going through all my savings. I'm not really DJing like I was anymore, but that led me into figuring out how to do leases. It led me into putting myself out there. My first brokerage was RHA, so I was able to connect with a lot of big names, and probably big names back then. So I have a lot of respect for a lot of those guys that are still there.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for it's okay for me to say this, Leston. A lot of people know Leston throughout the whole entire state of Texas now. If it wasn't for him sitting there like out in the hallway for 5 minutes on this is what you do on how to get a lease, I wouldn't have known anything. And so like I'm very grateful for that little bit of time, and then I'm extremely proud to see where he's at with his career. But also, that's what helped me take the time to figure out, okay, well, this is what I got to do. So I did leases, and then I started to get buyers, and then I started to get sellers. But that's how I kind of catapulted in here. But as things were starting to progress, I got a call to go on tour. And so it was kind of, do you stay here when your career is getting ready to take off?
Yeah.
Or do you take a leap of faith and jump back into, touring?
What'd you do?
I jumped back into touring.
Dang.
Wow.
But that's where it was around the time when my sister had just passed. She died in a car accident. And so I never attended the funeral. I waited a year because that was the one that saved my life. And so it was during that hard time where I had a lot of depression, had thoughts of suicide. I thought I wasn't worth anything. I thought I wasn't anything at that point.
Yeah.
And so it was just me and my dog. And so during that time, that's where I developed to start to write. That's where I also developed, posting Bible verses every single day.
Yeah.
Lost 30 pounds in 30 days or whatever. Like, I wasn't doing anything. It was depression and also just sheltering, isolating myself.
Yeah.
But when I got that call, or whenever I went to LA to make peace with myself, with my sister, and I met with Def Jam, and my guy Sonny, he looked me in the eye and he's like, "What do you want to do?" And it's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No, what do you want to do with your life? Like, is it this? Is it this? Like, you need to figure it out." And that's when my phone rang. I had a client at the time. It was the largest sale that I ever had. It was like $465,000 at the time. And so I hung up the phone. I said, "This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do real estate, and I'm gonna tour." And he's like, "Are you serious?" And it's like, "Give me a phone, laptop, and Wi-Fi. I can do anything." And then 4 days later, my phone rang, and it was the Harlem Globetrotters.
That is so cool. So what was the connection between the Harlem Globetrotters?
I saw a post on a friend of mine. He posted, send a resume in like for DJing. I didn't know what it was. I didn't even know that he was part of that organization.
Yeah.
And so I just sent him, Facebook Messenger my resume, and then I got a call a few days later, and it turned out it was only supposed to be for like a week or maybe two. And so 2 weeks turned into 3.5 years.
Wow.
So
Wow.
That's dope. Do you still do it?
absolutely. Oh no.
No.
I'm not leaving real estate now.
Yeah.
No, it was a great time. It was a great moment in my life to do stuff like that, because if I had not have gone, I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
So getting away, it made me want to. It helped me like see different parts of the world.
Yeah.
I've lapped the world twice. I've been to over 20 to 30 countries.
Wow.
I've met incredible people that I'm super grateful for. I got brothers and sisters that I never would have known that we are still like we're attached, like because now I'm part of an organization that very, very few are able to be mentioned with. And so I'm incredibly, humbled by that. But, it also allowed me to really figure out my brand.
Yeah.
And my brand is not DJ Def, it's Def. It's don't ever accept failure.
Yeah.
Because we fail every single day, but you don't have to accept that as your last.
Yeah.
So while, I'll just never forget that was around the same, I was in Spain and I was in a hotel room negotiating a deal for Louisiana and Texas at the same time while having buyers in Louisiana and Texas at closing tables at the same time.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's when I knew I was like, I can do this.
That's dope. That's so cool.
Wow. So how would you say the transition kind of worked to where now real estate is like your main thing, and music, you're not going to be doing tours or things like that? Or would you still go do stuff like that?
If the money was right.
Yeah.
I'll say that much, yeah. I'm at a place in my life now where money is not the forefront for me.
Money's not the motive anymore.
I don't I love it, but I don't love it. But real estate is what I want to do. I'm in real estate now, not to. Obviously, we're going to make a lot of money with it, but I'm in this process to help other people. I'm in this process to help them achieve the goal of home ownership.
Yeah.
So the thought of a tour is, if you don't give me a number that I know that you're not going to give me, like, I'm not going. I mean, it's the same thing with DJing. Like, people ask me to DJ at clubs all the time, and I'm grateful to be in a position to say I don't really want to, but here's another person that I recommend. Like, I can refer a DJ, I can help other DJs get to where I've been. And then whenever it's even with like the whole thing that collaborates music and real estate for me, I still get calls to DJ weddings. And my thing is this: okay, I'll DJ your whole entire wedding for free, but let buy a house with me, sign this paper. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's a fair trade, because somewhat of a fair trade.
Yeah.
But people love that, because not only am I helping them save money on bigger expenses like that, depending on how things go in the future with NAR, they're still not necessarily paying for it.
Yeah.
But it helps out everybody. So it's not always about that. It's about relationships. So music and real estate is always going to be tied with each other for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about being kind of a quiet kid.
Mhm.
Real estate, you really can't be quiet in. What has helped you be more social or just to be able to do something like that where you have to talk to a lot of people?
J. Michael is the person that I would give credit to for that, my program director, because he's the first person that put a microphone in my hand
Okay.
and forced me to get out and be in front of people. And then I will give credit to my best friend, Raymond Griffin, who I always give a hard time about this because he was the person that I called whenever I was getting ready to go on tour, and a movie was more important than actually sitting there talking to your best friend that was in a crisis. But we're not going to go there. And he will listen to this. Sorry, Ray. But it wasn't until going out on tour that I realized, like, I'm in front of 14,000 people and I have to perform. I have to be on point. And then so coming back home, it was like, wait a minute, talking to one person? Oh, this is pretty easy. Like,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
have I been missing on?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a very, I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm an extrovert, I'm an extrovert. But, it's like one of those things you kind of put it on, you put it off. But that's the moment that I realized that I could do it. But then also with like social media, how can I be me, but not, cliche with everybody else? Like,
Yeah.
I'll do the videos, I'll do all of that stuff. That's all cool.
Mhm.
But my music selection may be a little bit aggressive to some people, but I don't care. Like, you either like it or you don't,
Yeah.
because people are going to work with people that they like and they respect.
Yeah.
And so if you don't like it and if you don't respect it, then that's okay. Still got love for you. I'm just not gonna rock with you like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get a little bit deep into the music aspect.
Mm.
Who's your go-to artist at any moment of the day?
Right now,
Right now.
Fredo.
Fredo. Okay.
Fredo Bang,
Where did you learn about Fredo and where's he from?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Okay.
One of the hottest guys out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Very proud of where he's, from where he's been to where he's at now.
Mm-hmm.
He's been through a lot than I could ever imagine. But
Yeah.
he would probably be one of my go-tos. If it's, it just depends on genre. Like,
Yeah.
I like to now start my days off with listening to audiobooks. I also like like gospel.
Yeah.
And, shout out to Jose because he's, very great friend of mine.
Yeah.
But, even with him, like, he made a comment on your podcast about 1% a day. And I'm grateful that I heard that because it reminded me that I have to give 1% a day.
Yeah.
But, like music, Fredo would probably be if I'm feeling, if I need to get amped up.
Yeah.
If it's gospel, probably Kirk Franklin. If it's, if I want to learn something, it's probably going to be somebody like Jay-Z, Ludacris, Rick Ross, or 50 Cent. Some people like that. There's a lot of hidden gems in music that people don't realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different references to real estate in music too.
Yeah.
What are some of the other podcasts or audiobooks you like listening to?
The one thing is what I'm listening to again now. I think I'm on book number 16 for the year. But the one thing, Jeezy's book about adversity, there's Rick Ross's book, 50 Cent. There's a list, and Mac, there's so many that I would have to show you. But there's so, Jesus Christ, there's so many out there that I'm just like drawn to right now.
Yeah.
Start with why. Sell or be sold. Get honest with lying. Your 5 next moves. I just finished that one. Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins.
That's a good one.
Never Finished, David Goggins. How to Talk to Anyone. Like, there's so many different great books.
Yeah.
So, that's what I typically, I like to read or listen to. I set a goal for at least 2 books per month. That's what my goal is.
Yeah. What are some of the things from the books you've read this year that have stuck with you? Any mantras or quotes or anything that, you've really started implementing into your own life?
Be relentless is one, and that's Tim Grover.
Yeah.
that one,
That's a good book.
it definitely changed. So as far as mantras, my mantra is don't ever accept failure.
Yeah.
Before anything, it's always going to be don't ever accept failure. But your 5 next moves, that one, because I always think like, oh, maybe people talk about 10 moves, 10 steps ahead, and this and this, and it's like, okay, well, kind of learn to kind of scale it back. And 5 step or your 5 next moves, it's like chess too. It's like 5 years, or even looking at 5 days ahead, or even 5 hours ahead. So or 5 minutes ahead from now. Like that's how I kind of like dissect my whole entire day, or my life, or my goals. That's how I try and structure whenever, like, if I want to get something done, because once I'm locked in on it, there's no stopping.
Yeah. So what do you feel like sets the real estate industry apart of like other industries that you could be working in?
I would say you get to meet a lot of great people. You get to meet a lot of different walks of life, whether it's low income or a very high income. In real estate, it gives people the opportunity to do that. A lot of people want to get into real estate, and then next thing you know is selling sunset. And it's like, this ain't selling sunset.
Yeah.
This ain't nothing like it, or none of those, whack TV shows. It's like, people want to go to, these big open houses and, meet and connect and network. And then next thing you know, you're trying to stab them in the back. So I don't really associate with a lot of them. But then there might be some good people there. So no doubt. But it gives people the opportunity, if you let it, to really connect with all walks of life.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown. Like, I can sell anything.
Yeah.
But, and that's, the house is the house. But, hearing why they want to purchase a house, hearing, connect, like one of the people that I'm still connected with to this day, he's an investor out of Louisiana. Like, he's the one that taught me about investing. And he purchased 35 homes with me within his first year, my first year of real estate.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I would say real estate can do for you.
Yeah.
Because, meeting people like you, if it wasn't for Amanda, I wouldn't have known you. It's like, or Jose, like, it's all a big connection between us.
Yeah.
So, that's what real estate, I feel, can do for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us some of your client experiences that you've had throughout your years, maybe some of your really great ones, your favorite ones, or even some of your crazy ones or your hard ones.
Oh, man, there's so many. One very, very memorable one. Jose, we worked a deal. We worked a deal for one of his best friends, which is now a good friend of mine, George.
Yeah.
So that was a great one to do. It was very easy, but there was also a lot of challenges with it.
Yeah.
But the next one that Jose and I did, and I think he referenced this too, is he got threatened. He got threatened by a realtor on the other side, and so I don't really have a filter sometimes, and he was kind of just getting his feet into the door, and so I stepped in and I had a few choice words, because I'm not gonna let nobody talk to you like that. And honestly, I don't care. Like, oh, you're gonna call my broker? Call him. I'll tell him exactly what I said, and I'll tell him exactly what you did.
Yeah.
But the threats that was made during that one, I've walked into some homes where people didn't realize we were there, and they were doing some other things.
Oh my God.
That was interesting. So I don't think that was the house for us. But and then in Louisiana, man, like, those are always they're different from Texas. Here it's like you either want it, you don't. Like, over there, it's like, I know this person and they'll give me a deal, or then they'll go behind the realtor because they know the seller because it's so small.
Yeah.
But, it's very charismatic. It's, that Southern hospitality. So
Mm.
that's where I think I get it from is, a lot of different deals that has kind of developed me to be me.
Yeah.
And it's, you kind of have to be a chameleon
Yeah.
and to a certain point. And now I don't really want to be a chameleon. I just want to be me. So
Yeah.
like, I'm not really a suit and tie type of person, but I can wear one
Yeah.
in certain, situations that's necessary.
Yeah.
But, my clients, my people from all over, like they know me for me and they respect how I do things, and they know that in the case of things getting ugly, like I'm not afraid to do that. So, I mean, and sometimes you got to check somebody.
Yeah.
And we in this industry, like right now, they're like, "Oh, that's unethical." Well, it's like saying something stupid is unethical. But
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. Like that's what do you want to do? Like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
That's all it is. But
Yeah. What's one of the hardest conversations you've had to have with like a client, either them not, wanting to do things ethically, or if they're just, treating someone with, like you said, disrespect in the process? What's kind of your response to that, and how do you approach that?
you have to sometimes you got to take the gloves off. And for instance, there was a situation last year with a client, and he is very like all over the place. Like he, speaks his mind. Love him, respect him, but nobody understands that he's coming from a good place. He really means well. It's just his type of corporate is not the real estate corporate, and that's something that I may struggle with from time to time too. So, like, you have to have a conversation with them and come down to their level, and it's like, look, you can't say stupid things like this. You can't, like, they don't understand it. I get it, but you can't talk like this. You have to let me do my job, because I have to word your frustration in a different shed of light.
Yeah.
Because they're just not, they're going to look at it and think that it's disrespectful. They're not going to want to work with you. And if you continue to do this, then you're not going to get this house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to have those are hard conversations to have, because you deal with some people, they feel like, well, I'm buying, $600,000-$700,000 house, whatever. It's like, okay, cool. Well, this person can do it. That person can do it. There's a thousand other people out here that can do it, and some probably cash. So, but you finance. So those are the things. It's like you kind of have to humble them, even in a respectful way,
Yeah.
to let them know, like, hey, this is business. So they're always hard conversations. I think it just depends on the person that you're having it with, because some people I might have to be a little bit more easy with, but I have to figure out who they are and break it down to them in terms that they can understand.
Yeah. So with that, do you typically like working with certain types of clients, like investors or first-time home buyers, or people, on, their fifth home? Like, is there a certain type of like sector that you try to like get into, or you want to work with because that type of business and you enjoy doing it?
Straight cash.
Yeah.
Nah. I love working with first-time home buyers.
Okay.
Because of the fact that it's seeing it from the start and seeing it to the finish, and seeing how they feel whenever they finally close and they get those keys.
Yeah.
I like seeing that feeling.
Yeah.
With first-time home buyers. Investors, it's not really much to like or dislike about it, because it's straight one or you don't. Like, what we doing?
There's no emotion involved.
Yeah, no emotion at all. Like, but then, you have the second or third time home buyers, and sometimes it could be a little bit difficult, because they're working with you now, because they're not working with the person that before for a reason. So they may feel some type of way. So it's really kind of navigating. Those are the ones that I always think is the most popular to work with for me, is because you have to now figure out, what did that person do for you to come want to work with me? And so what did they do wrong? Like, how can I serve you better? What are your dissatisfaction? What were you dissatisfied with?
Yeah.
Those are things that I like to try and understand, because most of the time in this industry, as a realtor, it's like, okay, you closed on your house. I just got my check. All right, I'm gonna holler at you. Like, keep in touch. No, we don't keep in touch, and that's what you develop that relationship with, and that's what I like to do. Whether it's
Yeah.
first time investor, second, third, fourth time home buyer, like, is making sure that I have a connection with them, but also letting them know that I care, because they know that I'm getting paid from it, and money's going into my account, but it's going out of their account, and it's a lot of money that's going out. So it's
Yeah.
nothing for me to sit here and, okay, well, here's something and a complimentary bottle of champagne, or here's a $500 gift card. I don't care about those rules of what NAR or anyone else tells me. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna give it to them. I don't care about the rules. Like, what are they gonna do? Sue me? Like, they're already taking enough money from us and doing nothing anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just being honest.
Yeah.
If you could go back to yourself when you were homeless, what would be the one thing that you would tell yourself in that moment?
That it's all worth it. That it's all worth it. All the late nights, all the heartbreak, all the times of not having any money, feeling like you weren't worth anything.
Yeah.
All the failed tests, all of the the death, the hurt, the pain, the losing of a father, the struggles of a mother having brain surgery, the struggles of just life.
Yeah.
All of feeling like you have the weight on your shoulder, like the world on your shoulders. I would say that it's all worth it, because if I had not have gone through any of it, if I'd never been that low,
Yeah.
then I would not be able to take on what I'm able to take on now. Because those moments in life, and even before then, it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for having such incredible parents, incredible friends, a very small circle that pushed me to do things that I didn't realize that I can do. And if it wasn't for them, then we would not be talking. I probably wouldn't even be in real estate. I probably would have just stayed home in a small town and grew up in, just a quiet life.
Yeah.
But my quiet life is very loud now in a different way. And I lead with love. I lead with, compassion. And I just want to, and if I could tell that person back then that wanted to just blow his brains out, it's all worth it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they didn't.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah. We got our our person crying over here. Our producer.
Got him.
Yeah.
So good.
So
good.
you kind of hinted on it a little bit earlier that money is not really the motive anymore. What is success for you?
Success is seeing, man, that's crazy. So, success is walking into my house and seeing Bo and Saint sit there with these big smiles on their face, barking because they're excited to see me, even though they get on my damn nerves. Success is looking at my wife every single day and saying, I did that. And like, success is just, knowing that you have people in your corner that truly care about you and want nothing but the best for you. Even whenever you don't feel like, you have everything figured out, they are there. They're your support system. Success to me is not money. It's not cars, clothes, or any of that. I don't care about it. I wear Chuck Taylors and, this necklace that I have on right now. This is my dad's ashes. I don't leave without it ever. So that this is success to me.
Mm.
This is success. This wedding ring is success to me.
Yeah.
You know, my mom calling me and saying that I love you is success. You know, my friends telling me that they proud of me and I'm telling them that they proud. That's success to me.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of the material things because they come and go.
Yeah.
And they ain't gonna go with me whenever I leave.
What would you give for advice for somebody that sees success as the material things or the worldly things?
I'm gonna look at the camera with this one. I would tell them to humble yourself. You need to humble yourself because you can have all the money, the cars, and clothes in the world. It doesn't make you anything. You can look in, and I learned this from a very good friend of mine. His name's Renee, and he is very close with 50 Cent for over the last 20 plus years. There's a story about this girl that was talking to this guy and thought that he wasn't anything. And she didn't even realize that the guy that she's putting down is the person that owns the jet. So realize that the people that you are not, that you may try and look down on, sometimes those are the people that own the jet. And another important thing is that we all put our pants on one leg at a time. Simple as that. So humble yourself because the person that you're sitting to, you may not even realize owns the jet, and they put their pants on just like you.
Yeah. So one of the questions that we just like to end our podcast with, in addition to just the success question, is about like your identity and like the legacy that you want to leave. So what would you say, and with all the experience that you've had and the things that you're involved in, what is your identity in, and where do you feel like your worth is truly in, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave?
I want to leave a legacy for my kids. Legacy to me is not only generational wealth, because we all want that for our families. I didn't really have a lot of that. I'm grateful that we're in a place now where we have 100 acres that is ours.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we have property that's ours. You know, leaving, you know, something to another generation is, I don't want to be the person that's just going to leave you, oh, you have a $20 million trust. I'm not just leaving that to you. Like, I'm going to give you the tools. The trust is there, but I'm going to give you the tools in order to build on that trust and turn 20 into 40. And so, but then, you know, you have goals in order to you know, accomplish or get this success, you have to accomplish these things. So now that, you know, so I guess leaving a legacy is mainly is instilling into someone the tools of discipline, the tools of work ethic and drive and motivation and all of those things. Because if you have all of that, I mean, talent is talent. Like, I mean, but you can't, sometimes you can teach talent. Sometimes you can't teach work ethic.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those things. I don't want you to be lazy. So if I can develop someone into working hard and smart and doing it the right way, then that is what a legacy is making sure that they know, like, I have this, but now I want this for myself. And so now that gives off to the next person, and that feeds off on and on and on. So now, you know, whatever trust it is now, like now that's turned into something much more larger to where it's like Rockefellers, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they ain't worried about money. Like, you know, Elon Musk, like, what's money to them?
Yeah.
We know that it's there, but the work ethic is what I want to leave. That's more important than any amount of money in the world.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, we appreciate having you on. Well, we appreciate We appreciate having you on. We appreciate that you came on the show today. We really
I
appreciate
appreciate
that.
you guys.
Yeah, we want to give a big shout out to Tap In Studios, Kendra, who's always with us. Kendra, you're the best. We love you. If you guys want to do a podcast, give us a shout. We can help you guys get connected with Tap In Studios. But James Deaf Merritt, we appreciate you and thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. Don't ever accept failure.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.